name is Beth Troxell, and I'm with Go Mortgage, and I've been a mortgage banker or mortgage consultant for 20 years now through a lot of different markets, and that's why I have Holley here today. We wanted to come to you and talk about what it's like in real life to buy a home during fluctuating rate markets. Hey Holley, thanks so much for joining me today for this little conversation about the housing market. We were at the art show the other night and just got to talking, and I just loved your story. It was so great, some of the things you shared with me. So I just wondered if we could talk about those things today.
Well, absolutely, Beth, and I super appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
really excited to come and have this conversation because I think that owning a home is something to really be celebrated and something to really get excited about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've had 6 homes.
Oh my goodness.
And so
wow.
I've had the opportunity to do a lot of celebrating.
Yeah.
And every experience has been unique. But I can't say that they haven't all been really, really wonderful.
That's great.
Very, very smart.
What a great way to look at it. It is something to be celebrated, right? And the process is attainable at all different stages of life and all different kinds of markets, right? That's what we were talking about. You mentioned that you bought your first home as a first-time home buyer in Denver, Colorado, where my son lives. Back in, what was it, 1994?
Yes, 1994.
Yeah. Tell us what you remember about that process and about what was happening in the market then.
Well, at that time, definitely being in Colorado, it seemed like, Colorado was kind of always a popular spot to be. And so, looking for a home, had its challenges, but at the same time, we were really young. I was 30 years old, getting my first home. I was pregnant, 9 months or 8 3/4 months pregnant with my second child. So I was going to have 2 very small children. My husband was studying at the university and doing his PhD. And so we were pretty much a one-income household. And
just your income.
Just my income.
Right.
And I was in sales at the time.
And you were in sales.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
So we know that presents a few little challenges, let's say, right?
Yeah.
For a home buyer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we needed more space. We were living in an apartment at the time. And when we started looking at the cost of what it was going to cost us to rent a larger apartment or a home, it just really made a lot of sense for us to really bite the bullet and to purchase a home. And so we started the process, and we were very fortunate that we had a lot of very wonderful people on our team that were helping us, right? So we had wonderful realtors. And then, of course, as we all know, very key is having a wonderful mortgage individual, right? To be able to help you to navigate. I mean, this was something we had never done. My family lived in Canada, 2,000 miles away. His family lived in Oregon, probably another almost 2,000 miles away, right? So there wasn't really anyone there for us to really lean on or to ask a lot of questions of. And we were new to the area, as my husband was a student, like I mentioned. And so we really were dependent on those individuals that were helping us.
Great. And that's what we're here for, and that's what we want to be, right? For our clients is a stable voice, a voice of knowledge and one of direction and security, when you're making decisions and stuff. Tell us what you remember about interest rates back then.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be perfectly honest, we were just so excited at the prospect of that we could actually qualify to purchase a home. And so from there, it was like, because like I said, we had no prior experience, no prior history, none of those things. And so we were just going into it with this really unbridled excitement of we're going to buy a home. And so when someone said to us, the interest rates where you would qualify is going to be 7 5/8, we're like, okay, like, all right, let's go. So we had, we had no idea. We just knew that, hey, this is how much home you can afford, right?
Right.
All the things that we, like I said, had received very good guidance with respect to. And I think one of the things that was really a huge contributor for us, Beth, was the fact that we had a team of people that we felt very strongly that we could trust.
Okay.
It is an industry where there's a lot of variables, right? And there's a lot of different ideas on the best way to accomplish purchasing a home, right? And how much home, there's all those variables, right? So we really felt as a young couple, it was very important to have established that trust.
Holley, what's funny to me is that you remember your interest rate, because I honestly, it's so weird when I look back at buying homes that my husband and I bought, like that was before I was in the mortgage business, and I don't really remember that much about the process. But you were great. You remembered that you got an FHA loan.
Yes.
And you remembered that your interest rate was 7 5/8.
Yes.
Which is great to be that specific. And that's kind of just about a little bit lower is where rates are right now. But people are on the fence. They're kind of afraid to take the plunge, homeowners that are in homes, of course, right now are wanting to keep their lower rate, and there's not a lot of movement. But what we're saying is that 7 5/8 or 7 1/4, where rates are today, or a little bit lower, is not like astronomical, right?
Oh.
As far as the history of rates goes,
No,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not by any means. And even for myself, like I said, having owned several homes and just moved to the Spartanburg, Boiling Springs area. And so I've just been here, it'll be 1 year.
Okay.
On Tuesday.
All right. Right? Awesome.
So
congratulations.
Yeah. And
welcome to the upstate.
Yeah. And so having purchased, like I say, several other homes where I got to take advantage of the I think one of my best was 3 1/4.
Okay.
Then I had like a 4.5 before that one. There was, most of them were all in that sort of under 5 1/4, over the years, right? So I was one of those people. I was very accustomed to getting that lower interest rate. I got used to it, all the, pluses that come with those lower rates, right? We get it.
Right.
But a big opportunity came my way to come to this area. And so that meant selling my home and purchasing a new home. And the interest rates, were up over 6% last
a year ago.
Yeah,
right.
A year ago, easily.
Yeah.
Right? And so that was just the reality of the situation. And I had already had an experience where I rented a home in between homes in the past, thinking that, things would change, or I was going to leave the area, or there were a lot of different scenarios there, but I ended up renting a home, believe it or not, for 7 years, which now I think that mind-blowing to me, right?
Why did I do that?
And I look at, obviously my landlord was awesome, but he loved me. I paid his mortgage.
Yeah.
His mortgage for 7 years. So when you rent, you are paying someone else's mortgage, whether you're in an apartment complex, because somebody owns that apartment complex, whether you're in a home, right? And so I decided after that whole experience, because of course I then bought a home after that, realizing I was staying put, that never again was I going to pay someone else's mortgage. And I knew the value. I've always known the value of investing in me. Because to me, that's what purchasing a home is.
Yeah.
It really is about investing in myself.
Right.
And my future.
Right.
And where I'm going.
Right.
Right. And so like I said, coming to this area then and knowing that, yes, the interest rate is going to be, the home I sold in Alabama, my interest rate was 3.25%.
Okay.
So it basically doubled.
Right.
Basically doubled.
Right. But that didn't scare you? You just came on because this was the opportunity
because I've bought homes for 30 years, Beth.
Right.
And I've watched it do this.
Right.
And guess what? This is never going to stop.
Right.
It's not.
Exactly.
It's just not.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
And so we can freeze and say, oh, I'm not going to do that, and pay someone else's mortgage. Or you can jump on board.
Yeah.
You can do what is best for you, which is to invest in yourself. Mm-hmm. And if interest rates go down, guess what?
Yeah.
They have this really amazing thing. It's called refinance.
That's right. That's right.
And they have had a heyday with it. Right. We at different times.
We did. At different times,
yes. I'm sure you've lived through that.
I have.
Haven't you?
I have.
Exactly. Yeah. And so now we're at the other side of things. I just think, again, as we mentioned at the start, like, it's never too late to celebrate.
Yeah.
I'm purchasing a home. And I understand, our economic climate, feels very, I get it, unsteady. It feels pretty shaky.
Right.
Right. And I know that sometimes fear can get its nasty claws into us. Mm-hmm. Right. But to me, that's not a winning way to live.
Right.
Is through fear.
Right.
It's just not. And I'm always all about opportunities, because I think there's always opportunities out there. And I think there's always just, the perfect home. I found my perfect. I did, because I put in 2 bids. I came. You all know last August it was nutso here.
Right.
It was nutso, and I put in 2 bids on homes, overbid. Kind of stupid amounts, actually. I don't know what I was thinking, and because I wasn't going to pay somebody else's mortgage, right. But I overbid these homes, and I did not get them.
Okay.
And so I had to make peace with the idea that maybe I was going to have to wait a little bit, but I ended up, of course, as it is, that I got led to the perfect opportunity, and was able to get a new home. And so I was just really excited again. I was like, wow. How can you be excited?
That's awesome. And thank you so much, Holley, for sharing that part of your story. And all of you out there, you can take some advice from Holley. And if you're hearing this and it's hitting home with you, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and let's start a conversation. Let's work together, to find your path to homeownership.
Hey, we got 40 minutes. Should we sing?